school and sports physicals. Healthy kids learn better and play harder. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine. Forward for you.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. Students in Clinton are less than a week from returning to class, and local authorities are gearing up for a busy start to the new school year. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, Clinton Police Department School Resource Officer Coby Bryant told the Heart Media Group the usual traffic patterns are in place at Clinton Elementary School, but changes at Clinton's Lincoln and Douglas schools are going to present new challenges for parents and law enforcement.
Well, one of the big ones we always discuss every year is Illini Drive. If you're dropping off at CES, what the school is requesting is you come from the south down by Kleeman, come heading north, and you turn in that way. And then if you're going to the junior high for drop-off, what they're requesting is you're coming from 54 and heading south. That kind of helps that traffic jam that kind of happens there. They're requesting it. We have parents that don't do it every year. It is a big irritation to the parents who are following the rules and when someone cuts in line when they've been waiting. But to add on top of that this year, we had the combination of Lincoln and Douglas School for kindergarten and first grade, which means we're going to have more traffic for pickup drop-off on Jackson Street at Lincoln School. So what the admin at that building is asking is that when you get on Jackson Street, they're asking you go 2 blocks north up to Jefferson, or up to Adams, and then head south. That way that line can start to develop. And we can kind of see this is kind of a trial and error process. We're going to see how it goes for a few weeks and see if we need to adjust it. But for right now, if we can have parents go up to Adams Street and then head back down south and start to create that line that way, and we'll see how things kind of shake out that way.
According to Officer Mayer, there are stiff penalties for motorists who disobey the traffic signals on a school bus.
Yeah, Douglas will be just preschool this year. The main concern with Douglas every year, that's the highest amount of reports I get of people running school bus stop signs. Almost every single one I get comes from Douglas. It's Main Street right there in front of the school. Some people tell me they didn't think both lanes of traffic have to stop. Both lanes have to stop when that stop sign comes out. Also, people get in a rush and think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Well, it is. A lot of people don't know that the state law for running that stop sign, if you're convicted, you get your driver's license suspended automatically. That's not even something the judge makes a decision on. It's the state statute for that. If you get convicted for running that stop sign on a school bus, your license is going to be taken away.
Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers indicates school leaders and law enforcement have many years of experience in coming up with these recommendations for parents.
The first few days is just kind of everybody gets into their routine, and we'll make adjustments from day to day on what time they need to leave. Just figure it out. As he said, the school puts out recommendations for those traffic flows, like on Illini Drive, that approaching from the south to Clinton Elementary School, approaching from the north to the junior high, approaching from the north to the new schedule, I guess, at Lincoln School. Those aren't the law, but if everyone would follow that advice and just be patient, they put a lot of thought, and quite frankly, in the topic of Illini Drive in Clinton Elementary, many years of experience now. And I think that we've decided that this is about the best that we've come up with, or that they've come up with, for traffic flow. So if everybody would heed that advice and work together, it makes it a lot smoother for everybody else. Just be more patient, be more aware and cognizant of the pedestrian traffic, the bicycle traffic, not only around the schools, but in our residential neighborhoods, as he mentioned.
Students in Clinton go back to class on Monday, August 17th. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, National Weather Service gearing up for Illinois State Fair. A local faith-based nonprofit is finishing up its summer intern program. Mandy Reese with the Neighborhood Care Center explains that they brought on Zach Potts as their summer intern because of his interest in ministry and passion for mission work. The idea was to give him hands-on experience in the day-to-day of making an impact on people's lives.
We invited Zach in because we knew he was interested in learning more about what it looked like to live on mission. And so we thought, why not invite him in to see what Neighborhood Care Center is all about and kind of let him get a behind the scenes look at how a nonprofit organization works week to week.
Okay.
And so that's really what we've done, is just kind of invited him into spaces. He's had some hands-on experience, but he's also been a part of a lot of meetings and things that maybe people normally wouldn't get to do, just to kind of see what it looks like.
Potts describes his experience with NCC as eye-opening to the everyday struggles of people in Clinton and central Illinois. While some may see the organization as just a food bank, he says it is so much more.
It's been amazing. It's been very eye-opening to see like the community in, I guess, its real way. Like I had no idea like homeless people lived in Clinton, but just through various discussions I've had with Cody and the neighbors from Neighborhood Care Center, it's just really eye-opening to see what people's lives are actually like and what their experiences are, I guess. Through Dalton Weaver, the youth pastor at FCC in Clinton, he knows Cody pretty well, and he thought this would be a good opportunity for me this summer. I just thought they were pretty much a food bank that was faith-based, but I had no idea that it was this much and that they were still expanding into Vermilion County and McLean County even. Yeah, I would say kind of go back to what I said earlier, eye-opening. They provide economic support with people, and it's in a closed room, and people tend to open up very much in there. So I would say that just seeing people's experiences and them telling you stories, it's just very moving, I guess.
Potts hopes to use this experience to further pursue his interest in ministry. He wants to pair that with his passion for flying by becoming a pilot and possibly flying missionaries around the world. Before attending school, he plans to take a 6-month-long mission trip as well.
So going into it, me and Dalton Weaver, the youth pastor at FCC, we just talked about like what ministry might look like in the future for my life. And I think this is a great opportunity to see what it might look like in the future. So this is just like opening new doors in my life. So I'm going to be a pilot, and there's a lot of ministry ways you can be a pilot and like have that involved in your life still. So I'm not sure exactly what that might look like. So I don't know yet. So you could fly missionaries into like parts of the world that like you can't just drive to. So like villages in the middle of Africa or like South America or something like that. You could have that, or there's many other different things you could do as well. So it's a 6-month mission trip it's called Youth of the Mission is the organization. And I leave in September and I'll get back in March. And the first 3 months, I'm just learning about the gospel with 30 other people from all around the world. I don't know any of them. And then for the second 3 months is where I travel somewhere else and talk to people about God and share my faith and just help others to know God.
The generosity of people is something that has stuck out to Potts through this experience. He indicates that it is that generosity that allows NCC to function daily and serve the community. Reese says it is always about ministering however you can.
I would say one of the biggest things is how generous people are. I mean, Neighborhood Care Center wouldn't be able to be a thing if people weren't generous. So it's really just crazy how, and I've been fundraising for my trip this summer too, and that's just really made it clear how generous people are. And I think that's one of my biggest takeaways of the summer.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we hit home all the time with a lot of our mission partners, is Neighborhood Care Center provides a space for them to come in and understand better how they've been wired, how they've been created, and what can I do because of who I am, and to really go out and step out in obedience and bravery and courage and do some of those things to really make a difference in your community and where you live.
one thing you just said is how ministry work is not just talking to people about Jesus. It's also things like behind the scenes, like for Neighborhood Care Center to be like stocking the shelves or something like that. It's not just talking to people about Jesus ministry work. It's also so many different things. It doesn't just have to be talking to random people, approaching random people at the grocery store or whatever about talking to Jesus.
Learn more about the Neighborhood Care Center in Clinton, McLean County, and soon in Danville, its efforts and how you can help by visiting neighborhoodcarecenter.net or by finding them on Facebook. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
In the communities we call home, connection means something more. That's why Connexus Fiber Internet combines the strength of a locally owned network with support from people who call this community home. The internet that powers your day should be built with the same care as the community around you. Connexus provides the speed you want, reliability you need, and the service you expect from neighbors who live here too. Luxury speed, hometown heart. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 21 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The Illinois State Fair opens this Thursday, and the National Weather Service is gearing up to provide the eyes to the skies for the 10 days of the annual celebration. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln says the State Fair always provides plenty of excitement to fairgoers, but also to his staff. Chances of rain will continue to persist even into the heart of State Fair week.
Right now, the outlook for that time range, this is 14th to the 20th, but the heart of the State Fair is, week there, above normal temperatures. We're near the borderline with near normal. So, but southern 2/3 of Illinois are in that above normal temps, and then above normal precip, unfortunately, is painted all the way from the northern plains through the northern third of Illinois, or northern half of Illinois at least, above normal precip. So there's probably going to be daily, summertime thunderstorm action going on, unfortunately. So, but don't change your plans for a state fair. Get in there and do what you want, and then you can duck into a building if there's some rain that does happen to occur periodically there. I would definitely say we're going to have chances of rain more often than not during those 11 days of the fair, but it'll be a good time no matter what happens. We'll be down there daily to help them out with, keeping everybody safe. So Definitely head out and enjoy the fair.
If you're headed to the fair and the weather is not threatening with severe storms, you are likely to encounter Shimon and his team set up near the Dairy Building on the fairgrounds.
Yeah, we do have an outreach. It's there's a booth that's on the corner of Farmerama Lane and Central Avenue, right kitty corner from the Dairy Building, and the First Aid Building is right behind us. So we're right there daily. Usually we get there and set up about 1 o'clock, and we're there till about 7 on a quiet day. So we got some time to interact with anybody that wants to stop by our booth. We've got cloud charts, safety information, just general interaction, a lot of safety pamphlets and whatnot, and just some conversation is always good, in case you have something on your mind about the weather. We at the State Fair, we're across from the Lincoln stage, between the Lincoln stage and the First Aid Building, and if you know where the Dairy Building is, that's right across the street from us. So we're not far from Gate 4, so to speak, but in a decent spot.
Looking to the back end of the State Fair in the last few weeks of August, Shimon indicates outlooks show equal chances of above or below normal temperatures, and the same for precipitation.
Yeah, it's starting to show a shift in the equal chances for temperatures. So above or below normal chances are equalized there, but the precipitation drops off to just equal chances there, and and below normal precip signals actually across Missouri. So we really lose that wet signal for probably at least the last week of August. I think hopefully we can, end the month not too far above normal. We don't want to have any flooding problems, but yeah. So I think the month will end up be above normal precip, but that last week looks pretty dry.
For day-to-day forecasts for the Illinois State Fair, visit weather.gov. We'll have more with Shimon later this week on the outlooks for the fall harvest season, as well as the development of what is becoming a strong El Niño system setting up for the winter months. Action requests remain a key part of the Illinois Farm Bureau mission. It's all about grassroots and advocacy, says IFB Executive Director of Governmental Affairs and Commodities, Kevin Semlo.
You have to have your voice heard. We do the official communication, laying out the details of what our position is. But that action request of having our grassroots efforts calling into your elected official make the difference. Because at the end of the day, it's those individuals that can vote for that individual or not. And so that's what drives the process, whether it be a member in the U.S. House of Representatives or U.S. Senators, all the way down to your local road commissioner. It's local constituents that make the difference, and having your voice heard is what matters. Of course, in Washington, it's all pretty much done by email over time because of all the other things that have happened over time. Phone calls get overwhelming. Emails seem to be the best way of contacting him, and that's what we set up for our action requests. We make it simple. You send your message in, and those do weigh on the legislators. They also, like in committee, they actually look at the group letters that are submitted by the groups. We joined on with all the ag commodity groups and all the ag businesses in support of the Farm Bill. All the national associations, a lot of the state associations sent on that letter. I think the last time I looked, there was over 300 supporters saying, please vote for the Farm Bill. So those things do make a difference. It's just unfortunate when we see politics play into these types of things at the end of the day.
A total of 1,210 Illinois Farm Bureau members responded to the latest action request. It involved contacting Senator Dick Durbin, urging his support for the Farm Bill and year-round E15 in the Senate Ag Committee last week. Being a lifelong learner is important to Illinois State University agribusiness professor Dr. Ulia Teta. She is a fellow in the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation class of 2027.
Actually, it's a funny story. The first time I've had interaction with this program was back in 2022, I believe, when they invited me to be a guest speaker and talk about the war in Ukraine and impact on the global agriculture. So at that time, I remember I made a presentation and I was truly impressed with the quality of the program. And I said, this is amazing. I wish I could be part of it. And then my mentor came around and said, hey, you should look into this. And so the rest is the history. The leadership of ILF and the board really see value of engaging industry and academia, because programs like that oftentimes focus primarily on industry. And I think they see a big picture. They see that discussions between academia and industry need to start way earlier, not when an applicant is applying for a job. And I think that's something, securing that human capital pipeline is what differentiates this program maybe from others. So I really appreciate to have that opportunity.
The class of 2027 will finish the program with an international visit to Singapore and Vietnam in March. The Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation was created in the 1980s. For the history of the program and a list of past participants, go to agleadership.org. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. Best of all, it's all free all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news comes your way now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Despite what the pollsters predicted, the Democrat governor's primary in Wisconsin has gone to the establishment-backed candidate. Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley managed a narrow victory over Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong. She had been far ahead in many of the polls. Mike Lindell fell short in his bid for the Republican nod for governor of Minnesota. Lisa DeMuth won the GOP gubernatorial primary. Also in Minnesota, Democratic Progressive Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan won the Senate primary. She'll be facing off against Republican Michelle Tafoya in November. And Senator Darlene Graham advances to a GOP primary runoff in South Carolina. She will face longtime Congressman Ralph Norman in that special GOP Senate runoff in 2 weeks. On Wall Street, the Dow futures 61 points higher. This is SRN News.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at 2 different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-936-5496.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Ellie De La Cruz drove in automatic runner Matt McClain with a sacrifice fly in the top of the 10th inning as the Cincinnati Reds snapped a 3-game skid with a 5-4 comeback win over the Chicago White Sox on Tuesday night.
The White Sox started the series opener against the Reds on Tuesday night in fantastic fashion as Brenton Doyle launched his first home run in a Sox uniform to lead off the game.
Nick Lodolo delivers. There's a swing and a smash in the air, deep left center field, and it's gone! First home run with the White Sox. His 6th career blast against the Reds.
Sean Burke deserved a win, pitching 7 strong, punching out 8s, and only allowing a solo shot. But some tough luck off the Sox pen in the 8th allowed the Reds to tie it up and eventually best the Sox in extras, 5-4 final in 10. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock on the ESPN Chicago Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
Here the Sox' second matchup with the Reds tonight on WHOW. Pregame starts at 6 p.m. Pete Crow Armstrong, Alex Bregman, and Seiya Suzuki homered, and the Chicago Cubs rallied from an early deficit to beat the Washington Nationals 8-6 on Tuesday night. Crow Armstrong's third inning shot, his 27th, hit the facade of the third deck in right field, traveling 437 feet. Bregman hit his 13th homer and finished 2 for 4 with 3 runs scored. Suzuki hit his 20th in the 8th inning to make it 8-4. The Cubs are 70-50 overall and improved to a season-best 20 games over 500. They were 34-34 on June 10th, but have gone 36-16 since, and they have a commanding lead in the NL wildcard race. All-star C.J. Abrams hit a 2-run homer in the first inning for Washington, his 29th, and Jacob Young went deep in the second, his 10th, to give the Nationals a 3-1 lead. Dylan Cruz also hit his 10th homer for Washington. The Cubs scored in 5 consecutive innings, highlighted by a 3-run fourth. Carson Kelly's RBI grounder off Jake Irvin, who is 2-6, put Chicago ahead 4-3. Shoto Imanaga allowed 3 homers for the 4th time this season and could not get out of the 5th, departing with 2 outs and a 6-4 lead. Ryan Rollison is 7-1 and recorded the next 4 outs. After the Nationals got within 8-6 in the 8th with 2 runs against Ryan Zefferjon, Jacob Webb got the last 4 outs for his 8th save. Abrams increased his major league leading RBI total to 91, matching Ian Desmond in 2014 for the most in a season by a national shortstop. The NL Player of the Month for July, Abrams has 11 homers and 31 RBIs in his last 31 games. Left-hander David Peterson is 6-7 with a 5.35 ERA and starts Wednesday for the Cubs, while the Nationals are expected to promote top lefty prospect Jackson Kent from AAA. Andre Palante gave up 4 hits over 6 innings, and Everson Pereira homered to help the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Philadelphia Phillies 2-0 on Tuesday night. Pereira hit his 5th homer of the season and first since being claimed off waivers by the Cardinals from the Chicago White Sox on Thursday in the 8th to give St. Louis a 2-0 lead. Pereira, who started in center field, made a leaping catch of a line drive at the center field wall in the top of the 5th inning to rob Alec Boehm of an extra base hit. George Soriano is 6-3 and pitched a scoreless inning of relief of Palante, who allowed 3 walks and struck out 2. Riley O'Brien pitched a scoreless 9th for his 30th save. Ryan Stanek got Luis Reyes to ground into a 3-2-3 double play and retired a JT Realmuto on a flyout to deep center field after Caleb Ferguson walked Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, and Bryce Harper to load the bases with no outs in the 8th inning. Christopher Sanchez allowed 4 hits and struck out 7 in 6 scoreless innings, but he did not earn a decision, snapping a 5-game streak of wins. Wynn lined a 2-out single to right field in the 7th off Alex McFarland, who was 0-1, and was recalled from AAA Lehigh Valley prior to the game to drive in Jordan Walker. Walker went 0-2 with a 7th-inning walk to snap a 10-game hitting streak, which was his major league best 4th of at least 10 games this season. Phillies right-hander Zach Wheeler is 10-3 with a 2.69 ERA and is scheduled to face Cardinals righty Kyle Leahy, who is 8-4 with a 3.45 ERA in Wednesday's series finale. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the Detroit Tigers beat the Cleveland Guardians 6-4, while the Miami Marlins shut out the Pittsburgh Pirates 2-0. The New York Yankees beat the Seattle Mariners 4-1. The Toronto Blue Jays took down the Boston Red Sox 5-3, while the Atlanta Braves blanked the New York Mets 4-0. The Baltimore Orioles beat the Minnesota Twins 5-2, while the Los Angeles Angels beat the Texas Rangers 3-2. By the same 3-2 score, the Colorado Rockies beat the Arizona Diamondbacks, while the San Diego Padres routed the Milwaukee Brewers 11-2. The Tampa Bay Rays beat the Athletics 12-4, while the San Francisco Giants took down the Houston Astros 4-1, and the Los Angeles Dodgers beat the Kansas City Royals 5-4 in 10 innings. Chicago Bears safety Coby Bryant will miss 4 to 6 months after he had surgery on his injured left knee, Coach Ben Johnson said Tuesday. Bryant signed a $40 million 3-year deal as a free agent this offseason and was expected to be an important part of a revamped Chicago secondary. Johnson said Bryant had surgery Friday without disclosing details of the injury. He did not rule out the possibility that Bryant would return this season. Chicago let all-pro safety Kevin Byard leave for Buffalo in free agency and signed Bryant, who spent 4 years with the Seattle Seahawks. He was also the starting free safety for last year's Super Bowl winning squad. Former Dallas and Tennessee safety Xavier Woods was signed last week and immediately went in as a replacement for Bryant. He intercepted quarterback Caleb Williams in his first full practice. The news about Bryant comes as the Bears deal with several less serious injuries. Chicago is preparing to host Cleveland on Saturday in its first preseason game. Wide receiver Luther Burden suffered a groin injury last week, and Johnson said he'll miss the rest of training camp and the preseason, but will return for the start of the regular season. Johnson also updated the injury status of starting left tackle Ozzie Trapillo, who suffered a patellar tendon injury last January in a playoff victory over Green Bay. Trapillo is progressing well, and Johnson wouldn't rule out his return to practice by the end of preseason. The Bears have been practicing without defensive end Montez Sweat, left tackle Braxton Jones, backup safety and cornerback Cam Lewis, and backup safety Elijah Hicks. All of those injuries, except for Hicks, are considered day-to-day. Starting slot cornerback Kyler Gordon remains on the physically unable to perform list after a calf injury before training camp. The Bears turned to rookie fourth-round pick Malik Muhammad in the slot last week, and he continues to work with the starters in that role. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. A severe thunderstorm watch continues until 1 p.m. this afternoon. Chance for storms today, otherwise overcast skies. Highs of